see, so like I say again, we are far removed from our ancient African sciences. And only thing we have to show about it is religion. And too often, that's just moral teachings. That really ain't got shit to do with spirituality. As a matter of fact, I can say and I can prove the church has nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. That's a moral teaching based on moral code, which in Africa we didn't need to learn how to behave. A dog don't need no damn book on how to fucking be a dog. Humans don't need no book on how to be a fucking human. That's the white man. He had to have a manual because he was inhuman. So in actuality, in so many words, we created these religions for his ass because look what he did with the book. Can you imagine how this devil would be if he didn't have no book? But somehow in the process of our getting hit in the head, we woke up and thinking in actuality that we got to pray to God and love and I talk about do all the stuff that it says doing and all, when in actuality and all, we are the manifestation of God. And the book is written, the book itself is copied based on the nature of the ancient black people in which they was telling people the laws to behave like. You see what I'm saying? So, so that's one thing I'm saying and all. We got to get out of this whole thing based on this. My point is based on this whole religion thing. Because some people, if you ask them right now, well, give me some proof that your prayers and all work. They say, well, he woke me up this morning. Well, a fucking dog woke up this morning. That don't mean shit. Because you woke up this morning don't constitute shit. At what level did you wake up?
Wait a minute, isn't that a series of blasphemy right there?
Well, even that word blaspheme, where did it come from? What does it mean? Who you blaspheming against? And what system or whatever they come from? I mean, because you woke up this morning don't mean shit. Hell, a dog woke up this morning. You see what I'm saying? Ultimately, that don't mean anything. That's some stuff that is, first of all, that's just some stuff that we came up with the last 100 years or whatever. We just say certain things. Oh, you woke me up this morning. Because some old black ass slave from Alabama said that shit don't make it law. That's the result of what you've been reduced down to.
So what about the scriptures that says, thou shalt not take anything from the scriptures or add anything to it? Now, what do you feel about that? What do you
Well, first of all, in that case, I might as well throw the damn scriptures out because they've been taken away from and added to the whole shit until the whole thing is all scrambled up. And even when you say scriptures, what scriptures are you talking about? Are you talking about the Bible?
The Bible.
Well, which one? Well, what makes it valid? We got the Schofield Bible, we got the Septuagint Bible, we got the Latin Vulgate Bible, we got the Greek Bible. You understand what I'm saying? What Bible? Then we talking about what holy book? We got the Book of the Dead, we got the Egyptian Book of the Dead, we got the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we got the Upanishads, we got the Mahabharata, we got the Rig Veda. You see what I'm saying? We got the Ramayana. You see what I'm saying? We got the Gnostic text, we got the Kabbalistic text, we got the Torah. So there's several holy books. Just depends on what concept are you coming from.
The King James Version?
Well, does that make that right? Because it's one. See, he who knows one book knows none. First of all, it's the King James Version. So that means obviously he was writing that shit for his people. You see? But then again, if you want to say the version, that version is coming with 19 books taken from it. If I got a Bible and I take 19 books from it, that ain't no goddamn Bible. That's a maze of confusion. And the only thing you won't ever get from that shit is confusion. See, I tell the Christian, well, you know, the ship ain't really came in when you talk about your religion. The verdict ain't came in because you got 19 books gone. You see what I'm saying? You got 19 books gone. And does that make that gospel? We got Yoruba, we got Vodun, we got Igbo, we got Hausa. You see what I'm saying? We got the Keba Nagas out of Ethiopia. We got the Ethiopian book of Enoch. We got tons of ancient texts. We got the Greek text. We got the Sumerian text. We got the Babylonian text. So one book does not constitute who we are and basically what we should go by. And as a matter of fact, when you really think about it and all, other than waking up, shit. Even this word blessed. Now I'm not being no more spiritual by saying these things, by you challenging these things, than whatever. When we say blessed, most people say, oh, I'm blessed. What constitutes your blessing? 98% of the people say they're blessed based on material things. Somebody might say, I'm blessed, I got a cell phone. Whereas 10 years ago, a cell phone didn't even exist. You see what I'm saying? But yet you see people walking around like they can't even do without it. So what you would call a blessing 1,000 years ago wouldn't even be in existence. What we would call a blessing in this society wouldn't even be in existence in an African society 10,000 years ago. The concepts wouldn't even come up. You see what I'm saying? The real concept is based on one thing down here: becoming gods. That's it. Man, know thyself. Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? And how you act and who you screwed last night does not constitute whether you are God or not. So it just depends on what we've been programmed into believe. That's a form of the slavery. We got to break that. You see what I'm saying? We got to break that. You see. Let me give an example. Asa Hemmitt posed this question before. If nobody ever told you that multiple gods was wrong, would it be wrong? If you never heard that I worship one God and polytheism is wrong, would that actually be wrong? No, it wouldn't. You see what I'm saying? The only thing that gives you the thing to say, only thing that you got between you to saying is that gives you this notion that it's wrong is because you was told that.
Yeah, okay, now let me ask you, what do you call yourself? As a Christian or atheist or what?
No, I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a Christian either, because that's a terminology that only exists 2,000 years ago. That which only existed 2,000 years ago cannot be the end-all and be-all when half of human history was over 2,000 years ago. No, the majority of human history was over before we even knew anything about Christianity. So how the hell are you going to be something valid in a world that lasted for millions of years and the world existed, literally has come and gone, and then Christianity pops up? I am an African ancient spiritualist, which religion before it became religion was an ancient educational system where you learn your relationship to the universe, the omniverse, nature, and yourself. And anything outside of that was a watered down version. So basically, I am the combination of all of that, which is beyond religion. So I don't call myself no religion. The word religios means to bind. You see what I'm saying? We should become beyond religion now. Religion carried us to a certain point when we didn't know any better. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't call the Christ that you're looking for to come back a damn Baptist. You would be like, hell, you supposed to redeem the world. I know damn well you got to be something greater than a fucked up ass Baptist or any other little human existence down here. You got to be reality itself. Well, that is what your soul is, Christ, before it was named relegated to one particular person and named an actual system of worship. You see, we had the knowledge of becoming Christ.
So what sense in, let's say, other people killing other people?
Huh?
Killing, period. What do people really actually get when they kill other people? I mean, kill.
Well, in actuality,
in a
I'm going to be
sense.
frank now. Let's go into some ancient science. First of all, even in your Bible, it tells you that, right in your Bible, it says that heaven and hell will pass away. So what we call heaven is not even real. It says it right in your Bible. This heaven and hell will pass away. It says it right in your Bible. Our God did not create the earth. Jesus says it right in the Bible. He says, this kingdom is not of my Father. What we call the earth doesn't exist. It's an illusion. In India, it's called Maya. Did you see the movie Matrix?
Not yet.
You need to go rent it. You
No, go ahead.
It's on my list of what you are.
Yeah. What we deal with right now is not even real. Ultimately, well, that's a bit too much. Let me just say what I'm trying to say. If this is not reality, then what is killing somebody? What is anything? The only thing that exists, if this is not real, is wisdom and knowledge. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it tells you that the true enlightenment of man is the realization of the unreality of existence. This is called a holographic universe. It never existed. What's your name?
Sam Taki. Sam Taki.
Taggett?
Taki.
Sam Taki.
Right.
Sam Taki never existed. You are a series of events that never existed. The only thing that exists is your soul inside of you. The physical body is a housing unit that houses the soul. Somewhere in a couple of million years, we fell to a state of existence where we started thinking that the physical body was who we were. It tells you right in the Bible the flesh is weak. Tell you this is not my home, I'm just passing through. Who you are has nothing to do with who you think you are. This is just a physical body, flesh. If it was real, it wouldn't dissipate and rot. So how is it can you be chastised based on something that's not even real, that's something that's not even going to be here in the end or eternity? They say that which is real can never disappear. It will last forever. The only thing that is real is your soul is on the inside of you. It tells you in the original scriptures, the one before they was changed into the scriptures of the Bible, or some of the stuff that was taken out of the Bible. This is what it says. In the Gospel of Adam, I think, which is the scriptures they dug up in 1945. See, our Bible was made out of older scriptures. And then basically the Roman government, what they did is the ancient people who used to be the authors of those scriptures, the Roman government turned against them because they basically copied these people's work. And the Roman government turned against them and killed all these people off. They were called the Gnostics. And they killed all of them off. And they attributed that work to Jesus, but that work predates him. They killed all these people off. And some of these scriptures was found in 1945. Bentley Leighton's Gnostic scriptures, or they called the Nag Hammadi Library, because it was found in a place called Nag Hammadi, Egypt. And these particular scriptures was found. One of the scriptures in the Gospel of Adam tells you that we people that are spiritual, the ones that have a soul, it says that they say that basically The ones who are not spiritual, the earthly man, are the ones who do not have this original soul. They need church. Church is good for them. For they cannot live without moral good behavior. They say, but we spiritual people, we can surely get to the kingdom just for the mere fact that we have a soul. They say that the one without a soul, he cannot achieve the kingdom. He's not capable of it. Because the kingdom itself is your soul. That's what the kingdom is. It says, but us that have a soul can surely receive the kingdom, which is the awareness of our soul. No matter what we do down here physically. Just as gold is placed in the mud, does not change the gold. The mud does not change the gold after thousands of years. You wash it off, it's the same gold. So is our soul cannot accept decay. Our soul, we cannot damage our soul no matter what act of degeneration and degradation we do while we're down here.
So now, back to the same question.
I have.
Now, I'm saying about the killing. You
Yeah.
talk about the Romans kill all the spiritual men. Now, why would they have to kill them? And if they kill them, like for instance, saying when you kill somebody, you take their life. Are you really taking their life when you kill them?
Not really, no. If they got a soul, you're not taking their life. Eventually, you just speeding up what's going to happen to them a few years down the road anyway. Death is inevitable. Death itself, my friend, is the soul. That's what your soul
It's
is.
the birth of, it's the releasing of the soul.
Now, that also sounds a bit spooky. This is something
Yes, it
like
sounds
what
spooky.
Jim Jones did. So actually, it's making me becoming a little bit spooky.
No, it's not Jim Jones. It's not Jim Jones because the simple fact is what I'm doing is I'm providing ancient scholarship. I'm giving you text that you're supposed to go and study yourself. See, the good thing about why I'm saying that you can basically take what I say as gospel, because I don't have a follower in our group.
Yeah.
I am basically a scholar and a researcher into ancient material. As a matter of fact, I don't even suggest that you even believe what I say if you eventually don't go and research it for yourself. So what I'm doing here, see, this is the deal how we have to distinguish on who we're talking to. A lot of people out here they have a certain group and they want a certain people to follow them. I don't come in that category of people. Number one, I'm providing ancient information that was hidden from us for thousands of years. Now, how do you receive that information? That's up to you. So do I tell you not to be a Christian, or I tell you to say my point of view? That's not the point here. What we're doing is we are basically recording records of information that was lost to us for years. You see what I'm saying? This information, what is it supposed to do? It is supposed to enhance what area you are in, other than tear it down. Or, if you feel like it, you don't have to be a part of that, the system that you're in. You understand? What I'm trying to tell you, it makes common sense that nobody on the earth needed a new religion to come to them that they didn't already have. It's irrational for an Eskimo to worship a Jewish savior. That don't make no goddamn sense.
Never did.
You see what I'm saying? So why is it as we are Africans would have to look in the context of we got to have one particular religion that defines us all, when the religion is a new thing? You see what I'm saying? 2,000 years ago we had educational systems, and because you was educated in those systems, these things that I'm saying would make a lot of common sense. It's just that 2,000 years ago, they separated the science from the education. So the scientific people say, to be in science, you can't believe in God. And the religious people saying, to believe in God, you can't believe in science. Whereas we didn't have religion or spirituality in science when they weren't together in the African science. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm dealing here right here is giving you a concept of transference of energy. It's the same as science. So that's exactly what those books was talking about. That was later rehashed into religion, where you just follow some shit that don't make no goddamn sense, all because you're afraid of going to hell, whereas hell is where you live. The earth is called Hyle, and the people that live on earth are called Hylics.
Oh, Hylics coming.
You see. And basically, if you was the underworld, they call hell. Well, hell, if you was in the, let's say if you was up in the stars somewhere, wouldn't this be the underworld, Earth?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on your perception of things, and basically what we have to do is we have to unravel pertinent information of knowledge, no matter how disturbing it may sound. Remember, anything that you get new is strange.
Yes.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be new. The first time a person went to, you ever see a little child go into first grade for the first time?
Mm-hmm.
That's some terrifying shit. Anything that you did for the first time. Most men who never had sex, or most women who never had sex for the first time, it's a little scary before you get up in there and find out, you know, you can do some things. It's the fear of the unknown. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what knowledge is supposed to do. If I come and give you a series of information that you agree on, that's not knowledge. That's inspirational ceremony. That's giving you some stuff that you, that's why you go to the church, they go, yeah, go ahead, yeah, go ahead. That means that he's giving them some stuff that everybody knows, so he's not teaching them. That's masturbation. Otherwise, it should be going, oh, I didn't know that. But see, we have been trained to not really know what knowledge is. We've been trained for inspirational ceremony. You see what I'm saying? And it's based on respect, too. If the Pope came and broke all this shit down, you wouldn't have no problem with it. Because you would feel that he's a man of authority and he's supposed to know what he's supposed to be. And that's based on the brainwashing of what they have done to us, too. We don't think that people that you might meet yourself that's unapproachable, that's not unapproachable to you, should know anything. So I shouldn't be sitting up in here a few feet across from you telling you anything profound. Whereas a man that travels around in a glass cage and waves to you in a window, because he's unapproachable to you, you have been trained that he must know more knowledge than a person in your own community. You see what I'm saying? So what we're talking about here is not a form of religion. What we're talking about here is a form of education, which the African way comprised of spirituality, in which you call religion. So that's the difference between me and other people. You see what I'm saying? I'm not out to get your money to tell you what you want to know. Every day we live, we're supposed to learn something. And the day that we don't learn something is the day that we don't live. That's what the Egyptians used to say. So therefore, if this stuff seems strange, that's the only way you get your mind to work.
One more question.
Yeah.
Now, suppose somebody pull a gun on you or something. Didn't you get some frightening experience? And didn't you really plead for your life? Why will you say, like, when you die, you become more powerful and you speak things up?
Right.
Why will, I mean, that is...
Well, it's naturally because, like I said before, because I haven't died yet, and it's only human to me to want to hang on to what I know, because we want to cling to the familiar. They say even when someone comes to hell to get you to go to heaven, you're going to go kicking and screaming and fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You would rather, if your arm had gangrene, and it's going to threaten to kill the rest of the body, you would rather your arm stay on than somebody cut your arm off. That's because people tend to cling to the familiar. We feel comfortable in that which we already know, and we don't feel comfortable into that mystery that we don't know. So most people fight against death up to a stage.
Other words, it's like fighting. It's like trying to hold on to a penny than to receive a dollar.
Than to receive a dollar. That's only because you have been conditioned to that. Remember, life is all we know. So if life is all you know, how would you know that death might be the ultimate prize, in which it is? Even Christ had to die. Don't you want to be like Christ?
No, now. Very late now. No.
Don't you want to? I want to be like Jesus. Well, Jesus had to die.
Yeah.
Right? And Osiris and all the rest of them had to get the hell on to the other dimension to gain the power, because the prize is on the other side. You see what I'm saying? Even the Africans, some people say, well, how the hell the Africans just let low Europe come in and take over them? But then again, we thinking from a modern mind. The Africans understood that certain things was inevitable. So they just laid down and died. Because number one, they knew this day was coming. You see what I'm saying? They knew this day was coming. The Tibetans got a thing, the Tibetans got a date that they knew the white man was coming about 800 years before he came. They knew he was coming. And they said that to the date, they said they had the day, they had the year, and they had the fucking hour. And the day, the year, and the hour, the white man arrived. The Tibetans got a thing. The white man, they had an 800-year prophecy on the day he was gonna come. And to the damn hour, he came knocking on the door. You see what I'm saying? He came knocking on the door. So some things are inevitable. Ultimately, death has to be the ultimate power, because the simple fact is we all gotta die. And they said this is what's plagued the modern man for years, is not knowing the knowledge of death. You see what I'm saying? Most people, when they die, we take it hard, because that's our selfishness. We don't want to go through being on this realm without them being around. And the Africans used to tell you, you got to quit mourning, because that person can't make the transition, not unless they know that you are all right. You can have them down here trapped for 20-something years grieving, because they don't, you know what I'm saying? I think because we went up to my Aunt Jane's apartment in over here in Brooklyn, and I got a cousin named Gray Henry, died in 75, and he was still up in the apartment. Now obviously he didn't make the transition, and I figured it out why he didn't make the transition, because I remembered that she grieved so much. This was her brother that she was close to, real close to, and so she grieved way past the time that she was supposed to grieve. You see what I'm saying? Mm. She even blamed God for taking it. And so as a result of the grieving process, he probably stayed around on this plane, because he didn't want to leave without his sister being all right. And he's still up in there.
You mean the ghost?
The spirit, yeah.
The spirit.
You see, still up in there. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times we don't understand things, and by us not understanding things, and that's what basically a European was. He didn't understand a lot of things because he was a new person on the earth. So therefore, now us being slaves, and when we say slavery, all black earth is in slavery, Africans too. We tend to take on the traits of what he doesn't understand. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so therefore, our minds have been totally reversed. You see what I'm saying? And you know, and so basically what we have to do is we have to damn override all this stuff and turn our system inside out. Even in the way we look at religion and God. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying about most of the ancient way that we look at things is not based on worship. That's a new phenomenon. Most of that stuff that we did do was ritualistic stuff to cultivate energy. But we understood that hell, we was just as part of the damn universe as God. You understand what I'm saying? First of all, to worship a God jealous of you is inferior. So the God in the Bible says, I am a God, jealous God. Well, right now, I got enough sense to know if I go and create a little old pot and put some toy soldiers up in there, that I wouldn't be jealous of the damn toy soldiers. You see what I'm saying? Well, there's a whole nother realm on why this jealous God, because that jealous God is not the real God. It's not the real God. You see. And he's jealous because we have something that he don't have. Well, that's a whole nother story.
So in other words, he's feeling just lousy, jealous, just lousy.
Yeah. You see, it's a whole other thing and all. But that was put into the scriptures later about this jealous God. Just as a lot of things. I mean, because it's in a book don't necessarily mean it's true either. In the Quran it says that you can beat your wife if you beat her with a short stick. Including the Bible, one of the most patriarchal, sexist books ever written. So that can't be from God. I mean, literally, they ain't got a damn positive shit to say about no woman in that motherfucker. And even when they talk good about her, she's always a subservient being other than the man. She's always obedient to her man. They ain't nothing but a bunch of damn slaves. But she is never esteemed on the same level as the great patriarchs, Abraham and all them. So right there, it's a male chauvinist murder cult. That she gets blamed for the fucked upness of society. If you want to put a new word on something.
And last young problem. Now, this is 90s, and we having a lot of macho women. And they're also trying to prove that they are the man. Now, as a man, what do you do about it? Do you also supposed to strike a woman? One woman said, you put hands on me and that will be the end of you. What do you think of that? Do a woman
No, you're not supposed to strike a woman because of, you must think of all women like your mother. So if you think of women like your mother, especially the black man, we really, the buck stops here when it comes to mama now. Mama can't do no wrong. So we should all think of all black women like mothers. Like your mama, she has the capability of being a mother. So when you think of that same black woman in the context of mama, that question goes, that's futile. Mama got the right to do what the fuck she want to do. See what I'm saying? So you wouldn't even entertain the same question if you thought of every black woman as your mama. Because she is capable of being a mama, so we're talking about the same unit. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? The same unit. You know what I'm saying? We are equals.
But what about a woman that really jumps in front of you and trying to make you look like you are a wimp?
Well, my point is a man will jump in front of you and try to make you look like you're a wimp, but you wouldn't take the same context of him. You just figure, hey, it's just a little fight. That's just an aggressive thing that went on between two humans. But it's only with the woman that you would feel offended and all, and that's because of the fragile male ego. See, if you take it the woman and put her on the same level as the man, then you wouldn't feel offended when she does certain things. You would feel, if your partner did that, if your boy did that, you would look at it in another context. It's just that you have been conditioned to think the woman is inferior. So whenever she does a certain amount of things, you can't stand for it.
Now, wait a second. Now, during the African American Day Parade, we witnessed one outrageous behavior by a young lady who weighs about 135 pounds, slapping a man who is very well masculine, weighing about 300 pounds, slapping him on the head over and over and over. And the man just don't want to do anything because of the police and the rest. So how do you handle such
brutality is brutality. I understand that particular part, but my point is that would not be such a... are you saying that in actuality...
best solution for the situation?
How?
Of male-female situation.
Well, the best solution, but my point here is it wouldn't even be in the same context if he was beating on her. You see what I'm saying? if he was beating on her. My point is the point I'm trying to make is, the whole context should be looked on as they're being aggressive towards each other. Her being aggressive towards him should not be tolerated the same as him being aggressive towards her. But because it's a female, you've already looked at it as another situation. If it was two men fighting, you wouldn't look at it on the same contents. You're only offended because it was a woman. My point is, we're talking about two of the same entities. And the only reason why we have a different reaction is because we've been trained that we are different. And in most cases in a patriarchal society, we've been trained that the woman is a little inferior than us. So we take another offense to it. You see what I'm saying? No, this is good stuff.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
he hungry as hell now. You open up the worms.
Okay, I will. No more questions.
No, I'm just saying. No, look, my point
If Bobby is willing,
is. See, my point is that you must understand one thing about learning. See, this is one thing you must understand about learning and knowledge.
Oh, you come over here on this camera. You ask all the questions you want to ask.
Okay.
I can leave
Is whenever you learn a certain amount of information, you must be accountable for the information that you hear and learn. That means that you can't stay the same human being that you was prior to learning that knowledge. A part of the world's deterioration in the generation is also the hatred of the woman. That's just as much a focal part of our demise as anything.
But that was then. We're talking about the 90s now.
But we're not talking about, we are a product of, we are in a patriarchal society.
Yes.
And male dominance is still king.
So why will a little lady have to jump in front of a big man, slap him over and over and over?
My point is the whole key is that should be looked on as a form of aggression that you could say that's sad that they had to fight. But as far as it being based on male and female, that has nothing to do with it. They was making an ass out of themselves even if it was two brothers fighting. You see what I'm saying? Even if it is two brothers fighting, they was making an ass out themselves. But right now, if your mama was out there fighting that nigga, you would be glad that your mama was slapping him or that nigga slapping him back. You'd be like, that's good, mama. Y'all got in a fight, and I'm glad your ass got the one up on this nigga. You wouldn't even think about it. You would want your mama to win that damn fight in all consequences, even if she was in the wrong. Just depends on how you think of this shit. You see what I'm saying? Right now, if my mama got in a fight in the middle of a damn parade, I would hope that it's my mama that's got the one up over that guy she's fighting, other than him beating her ass. It wouldn't even be a thought in my damn mind.
I don't know. That beats me. I will register my case on
Now, what do you think your solution is?
That's what puzzles me, because I witness my eyes and there's nothing, and I see this guy lift the weights in the gym and he's bigger than, he's almost as big as...
Well, let me give you another example. Let me give you another example.
Yes.
If we supposed to be one with nature and harmonious, do you know that you have a bulldog? They have these dog fights.
Mm-hmm.
They have a bulldog, the most strongest dog. Whenever you put a woman in the cage and the woman starts to fight him, he will lose the fight and almost die. The woman dog will almost kill him. You want to know why? Because that bulldog has common sense to know that he will not fight a woman dog under no circumstances. And most animals, most species, I'm talking about not the ones that's a different animal against a different animal. If two lions fought and that woman happens to fight that male will either run or get his ass whipped. By no means would he fight, because he understands, based on nature, you don't fight your species half, mainly the woman. For the mere fact that you are stronger than her physically, you wouldn't fight her. You see what I'm saying? So are you suggesting because this man lifting weights and stuff, he should have beat her ass?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, I said as a scholar and a very clear-minded person, which I call you Mr. Update. That's my personal name for you, Mr. Update. I was trying to see your point of view towards such a situation.
Well, based on the situation, they ain't had no business out there fighting, period. But I don't think that it would have anything to do with the male and female thing. I think that has to do with based on your views towards what you would feel to women, and so, it's like that, but ultimately that's interesting to know that, and the reason why I say that because they had this bulldog fight, and every now and then the guy wanted to win so bad, he put a girl up in there, and the girl beat the other dog's ass, and they had a big discrepancy on why you put this woman up in there, because you don't supposed to put women up in there, and basically this girl dog, and it was, female dog beat this other dog's behind. And they was all mad saying, why did you snuck a woman up in there and we didn't know it, a female up in there and we didn't know it. They was all mad. But basically the people up in there knew that male dog by no circumstances would fight that female. Although the female was mauling him to death.
If the supreme energy creator is a woman, could it also be possible that the subordinate deity that you talk about, the lower deity who rebelled or jealous, could that also be a woman?
No, I'm just going by what the scriptures say. And basically, for the mere fact that we call on that entity as a he, it means that it was a masculine form of energy. As a matter of fact, they said even to create something outside of the uncreated, it had to have been a masculine form of energy. That's why they always go, even in the Zeus thing, they talk about him shooting this arrow down, this particular arrow down. Basically, what they call creation itself is masculine. So, feminine is always negative, pull in. Masculine is always push out, or basically manifest. So what they call the manifest is a masculine aspect of something. And that's what it is. But not because if the feminine energy is all there was, then another aspect of the feminine energy will be a form of the same feminine energy. So, that had something to do with it. So, but mainly, I just go by the scriptures to be on the safe side, and I haven't seen any of the ancient ones that said it was accredited to another female. You got any more questions?
Last one. Last one.
Yeah.
For me. Now, I'm still asking, what do you think of these women being too macho, especially towards the modern man, especially black male, towards the black male?
Well, to create some balance, I don't think it's such a bad idea. On the other hand, I get where you're coming from. I think that on one hand, what we got going on also too is we have a certain hatred for the male also developing. We do have that type of thing, where the males are looked on only as a financial institution. I think that is just as much out of balance as it is as the woman being looked on as a piece of meat. And we cannot say that in actuality that does not exist, because I will say that even in the conscious community, when I travel up and down the United States, a lot of brothers that are conscious, they're having a lot of problems with their mates. Yeah. And so this is prevalent. And I think also too that it has a lot to do with the society that we in, because do you know that in the 1970s, inadvertently, the black woman didn't know it, but they had her on the list as government agents. Although she didn't know she was on the list, They had her on the list because they could create certain situations that they could depend on her to be on their side. You see what I'm saying? By giving her the job, by giving her a certain amount of things like that, and they could turn her automatically against her male by thinking that something is wrong with him. And I think that a lot of this stuff, what you're talking about on that aspect, is this same age-old trick by the master, the white master. And one way you do that in slavery is you turn the male against the female against the male, in that aspect of thinking this man is this shiftless old Negro. Now that is a form of government control also, by giving her the jobs and doing certain things and making her think in actuality she got that way based on her hard work and effort, when it was a government conspiracy to only give her that to create dissension amongst the males. You see what I'm saying? So on one hand, we cannot let that slide also too. This particular newfound part is also based on that too. So I will say on that aspect, that is a part of it too. But then again, on the other hand, we got to look at this particular part too. She's also been a victim of oppression. And we must always look at it that the same bug that bit her bit us too, and we're both oppressed people. And so we could fight over who's being oppressed the most, and we lose out when we got to understand that we are not really a product of our own civilization anymore. So ultimately, we can't fight against each other, you understand, where we got to come to common ground and pull the wool from over our eyes and see what is it in this damn system that's really causing this dissension amongst each other. Yeah. So I guess that's going to do it. Yeah. Things to, with this whole melanin project. The movie Dune explains it that melange, which is melanin, is the most precious substance in the universe. And in so many words, the whole universe is trying to get this stuff called spice, which is melange and spice mining. This is all about melanin. So remember now, the movie Dune was written the book Dune was written in 1965, 100 years of the Emancipation Proclamation. So they had already known what they was going to do. After they had basically, by 1959, they came up with the word melanin at Yale University. After studying it for years, they came up with the word melanin, and they isolated the gene in 1968. So many words of the actual substance. So in so many words, they figured that black people would be precious commodities. Precious commodities. Also, which also leads us to a couple other things also too, because the crack cocaine has a form of melatonin in it.
Yeah.
As well as B12, because what B12 does, it goes straight to the brain. So therefore, it's like neurotransmitters. So all of that stuff, you know, also like I said the other day about this brother went down and had 2 fish sandwiches. And he was eating these 2 fish sandwiches because they gave him all this free food at McDonald's. He was eating this fish sandwich and he found out that in actuality, his lip got numb and his throat started draining. And he found out that in actuality, that he remembered that feeling because he said he had two cousins used to sell cocaine in the 80s, and he used to go. He wasn't on it, but he used to take it and lick it, and it would make his tongue, his lips and his tongue numb, and his throat would start draining. And his throat would start draining, and so so basically they was lacing the stuff, the McDonald's burgers and stuff in the inner city with a mild cocaine. And so in so many words, these people would get this thing and get hooked on it and didn't know it. And so the first time they tried to crack cocaine, they would become hooked on it. They didn't understand it. They were prior hooked on it or previously hooked on it based on the foods. You see what I'm saying? That kind of thing that actually went down. So the other thing is also we got to realize that they have been cloning people since 1945 with Hitler. That's what your whole master race was about, based on Joseph Mengele, who was the main doctor. And they have been cloning people since 1945. Also, you must understand this too, that not only were they cloning people, that they were they had also done a lot more research on it up until the point that they are now that they can clone a person within a matter of hours. Get your movie Judge Dredd, or even when you get the movie Fifth Element, you saw them make this person. We could literally see the cloning process before our eyes. So in actuality, in order them taking all these people out of the actual, taking these people from the actual projects and all these other people, they have to replace them also. So they're duplicates, could be these clones. We must try to realize that, because we're living in that type of time. They've been cloning since, we know they've been cloning blacks since 1975. And a lot of your blacks that you see that do stuff sometimes that is unbelievable, those are mostly clones. So Clarence Thomas would be a clone. This guy Ward Connolly, which was the guy, was the first guy that they had to fight for the to get rid of the affirmative action. Those were clones.
Well, how does a clone work?
A clone is identical to the original host.
Yeah, but how do they develop? I mean, you said it can clone in an hour, the person is fully grown. I thought they take a cell and laboratorily somehow, you know, bring that cell into being, but it has to go through the regular.
It did in 1945. It did in 1945. See, that's the deal about new research. If I develop something and tell you 50 years later, the research that I'm doing now is the rapid treatment of it. What's that, sister?
Do they know they're a clone?
The clones does not suspect that it's a clone. It has complete memory. You can see that on the movie Johnny 2.0. But they can replace their losses in a day, because that's how advanced the technology is. See, the thing about it is this. You see, whenever we so-called supposed to live in a city, in a society, by the people, of the people, and for the people, and then we will allow the government to have top secret government projects, and that means in actuality that's not a people, by the people, for the people, and of the people. Because if we live in a society by the people, for the people, and of the people, you should have all the information on what the government is doing, since you're supposed to be the government. So that's falsehood anyway.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
For the mere fact, if it was by the people, for the people, of the people, there would be no such thing as a top secret from the citizen. So for the mere fact that you allowed that, and we allow that because we all are part of a mind-controlled slavery system, then these people can have access to information that when you get the information, it's 40, 50 years old, and this is 40, 50 years prior to that. So the production of it, when they told you we can make it and it takes years to grow that cell, or takes months to grow that cell, they're giving you the 1945 data. You see? So this is why we can't fathom a certain amount of technology, is because these people are somewhere in the year 2020 something, and they're telling you we're in the 1940s. Whereas in the 1940s, most things that they're dealing with have already been invented, and what you got now in 1999 is an acceleration of the progress of it. And these people can do some of everything, but even the Bible says that the knowledge will increase. You see what I'm saying? Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that they're going to give this devil just enough rope to hang himself.
So can the male sperm be taken by a woman and then later on go to delivered to the clone station or whatever the laboratory?
They don't have to do it that way. Basically, the only thing they need is a cell out of your blood or your hair. So basically, when they're telling you to give hair, that's because of the cloning thing. They're putting everybody's hair on file. They're putting all the blood samples on file in the prisons.
Correct.
Well, that's why the prisons now are new plantations also too. Number one, they're cloning the people in the prison. That's why this brother said that they came and got him one night, and he don't remember what happened to him, but he just woke up in the cell the next morning. Well, obviously that was the clone that woke up. In the movie Johnny 2.0, it shows you that. With Jeff Fahey, the clone does not suspect itself to be a clone. But it was interesting because the brother from there was a brother from Atlanta. This sister grew up with him, and she says that this brother who grew up with her, and she's 35 now, something, or 30, in her early 30s. This brother's thinking he's in his 20s. He don't even know his birthday. So most of your African leaders that they got is killing the people like that. That's the clone. So what they can do is they can go in and they can start these wars in Africa by cloning a certain group of people, and they go and do all this stuff that's going on, and you would never suspect that it's the white man. Meanwhile, you call for the white man help, and he come in and clean up the job. So basically, we're talking about all the stuff, you know, most of the things you see that's going on out here is senseless, and black people is going crazy on the continent. Black people is going crazy in Haiti. Black people is going crazy here. That's because those are the clones. And they'll use the clone to create a situation to label all the people. You see what I'm saying? These are things that's going on. But in actuality, these new things here, this new thing here is government. All a part of the same system. This T.D. Jakes.
Hold that up there. Let me see that.
This is government. Number one, they knew that the Afrocentric movement, the researchers of the Nation of Islam, and all these particular things, that black people was getting into knowledge that was alternative to what the same old good old religion was doing. So what they had to do, they waited till the Afrocentric movement kind of died down a little bit, and then they had to create a new preacher, charismatic, young, like I said, new types of suits on with 8 buttons and stuff. Talking about women, him, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, Bishop Eddie Long, and all these black young preachers, and they could come in and do the mind control thing to take people back to doggone slavery into thinking they go into hell. And this is the reason, and all of these people are charging enormous amounts of money. And this is all a part of mind control that the government is doing to get people out of their own African science, because to be a true Christian, you got to not believe in Africa, and all that has to be evil.
Yeah, you're right.
Egypt got to be evil. The Africans got to be pagans and evil people. And to be a true Christian, you got to do that. That's why you got all the Africans on the continent running around with white Jesus Christ and all. That's all a form of doggone mind control and slavery. So basically, this is to wipe out the progress that the Afrocentric community has done. You see what I'm saying also too. Now let me give you another one. This new thing here, is the new face of America. And they got all these people that's not black, not white. They in between, Hispanic and all this. All these people with mixed families, mixed parents. The blending races make a true melting pot. So somehow they want America to become not black or white, but some kind of beige type of race.
Correct.
You see, and this is what this whole shit is about. You see, this is what this whole thing is about. This is USA Today, September the 7th, 1999, Tuesday. This thing here to show you that the whole gang thing was government propaganda. They used the whole gang propaganda along with the rap to wipe out and to put the drugs and to wipe out America's inner cities. So as a result, Mandela, who ain't nothing but the white man's nigga too, and probably a clone, because you know they had to get rid of Winnie and all of the revolutionary freedom fighters of South Africa. As a result, they become the #1 recipient of AIDS more than any other part of Africa, but yet they was isolated from Africa when the rest of Africa got AIDS. So how the hell they gonna come down with the most AIDS? When up until down 1990, they was isolated from the rest of Africa, and still is in a way. So what does that mean? That means that they're using the AIDS and gang warfare and crack and all that stuff to wipe out the South Africans. So when you see this particular picture here, you would think this particular picture is coming from L.A. with a picture of Tupac Shakur and these people throwing up these gang signs. But you don't realize this is a picture coming from South Africa. And they're using this gang thing there now, the same thing that we went through in the late 80s, early 90s, they're using on a huge proportion in South Africa to kill off the people through genocide. With the crack, the AIDS, the gang warfare, the drive-by shootings, and everything that went down in our communities to destabilize the black community in the late 80s, early 90s is going on in South Africa. And this picture is evidence of that. You see. Meanwhile, the prison system now is basically an economic fortress for all things that is created in America is created in the prison systems. And that's why they end in parole in all cities, in all states. That's going to be the new force is to end parole. Because if I got you up in there, but damn if I'm going to train you to create all types of industry, and you mess around and get out, and I got to train a new person. But if you got 10 years, you do the whole 10 years. And that way I got 10 years of a slave. Because the key is to end parole, because all of your factories that used to be on top of the ground in the early 70s in the late 70s, in the late 80s, and started closing down in the 80s, is now opened up in the prisons. So how it is they'll have one, they can go under the banner of one corporation, they call it Unicorp. And Unicorp is all these particular factories that used to be on top of the ground, closed down and opened back up into prisons, and they are united corporations. So they call it Unicorp, and you thinking it's one people that's producing all the stuff in the prison, but in actuality, it's all of the factories that was up on top of the ground is now in the ground, in the prisons, and basically all of your labor now is prison labor. They said that they always say, the Republicans and everybody say that we need to get back to the values and the people who built this country. Well, this country was built by slavery, so therefore they go back into the prisons. So in so many words, this whole thing is talking about the goals and objectives of the Ku Klux Klan, which we didn't understand. We was thinking it was one system of little old rednecks running around on horses and burning up things. We didn't understand that was the law enforcement of a greater secret society. And they did away with that law enforcement because from that law enforcement developed the FBI, the CIA. You see what I'm saying? The federal agencies, the ATF and all of that. So there was no need for the early 18th century version of this same law enforcement. So therefore, they became more sophisticated, and they ousted all of the rednecks that they used for an open door policy at first to combat Reconstruction. So what we don't realize is the entire society is a clan society. From the most elite groups of engineering firms, law firms, computer firms, all the way down, you see what I'm saying, to your everyday hospitals. It's all a part of that. And remember, most black people don't die. They kill you. They determine that your life will be expired, and they kill you. As a matter of fact, there's a movie called Critical Care, where the doctor said we pretty much can keep anybody alive if we want to. It depends on whether the doctor wants to or not. You see what I'm saying? So in actuality, the problem is by us thinking we're American citizens and we are included in this society, where in actuality we are still under the 3/5 of a human being law, which was proven in the Million Man March when they said you were 700,000 and you were a million. Well, the government was telling the truth. Based on 3/5 of a human being, a million people would be 700,000. So they told the truth. But we are still property of the United States government, cattle. And the problem is we think we're citizens and we think that we have rights and the government can't do that. Where in actuality, we're nothing but under the authority of some elite groups that decides whether we live or die. You see what I'm saying? So we shouldn't hold nothing allegiant and nothing sacred to this particular country, period. And it's ludicrous to think in actuality that this white boy gonna do good by us in this country too. You see what I'm saying? And I think we lose the side of that because the simple fact that we don't understand that the secret societies are much more severe and advanced than we think it is. That's world domination, and that's the only way that they will survive, and the only way that they have survived up until this particular time is a form of colonization or neo-colonialism. You see? And the key to the whole thing is they figure if it all jumps off that they have to take the motherland back as a form of a state refuge. That is already recorded in the book, Ice the Ultimate Disaster, which in 1978 he gave the goals and objectives of the secret societies, and they said basically, if anything go down spiritual to wipe us out, our best safe place is the motherland, the Garden of Eden. So in so many words, this is why the African is coming down with 75,000 Africans are dying a month from AIDS that the government has put in there so that they can clean off that whole land for a safe haven. As a matter of fact, they have a city as big as New York and cleaner than New York built in the interior of Africa that the majority of Africans can't even get to.
What's that city?
Who knows? It's a city that the Europeans have built, and that's a city for the safe haven that they'll be going to just in case some shit jump off the spiritual, which it is. You see, they have a crystal city, and when President Clinton went over there, he went over there to christen that city and give the blessing to that city. One African girl commented on it from Kenya, because it's in equatorial Africa, in the middle of Africa. And she said there's a place that we can't go within a 200-mile radius. But she see planes flying over this thing all the time. They've been building on this city for the last 30-something years. And it's state of the art, right on the continent. Climate control and all that. So they can live in there on the continent and don't get burnt up. You see. So they've been doing this type of stuff. World domination. You see. So whatever little things we fighting for, we just grasping for straws. And the ultimate solution is we got to kill this cracker and get him off the planet. And an ultimate way to do that is from the spiritual aspect. And it ain't talking about praying either. Praying ain't doing shit but begging. It's talking about harnessing the spiritual energy that is in all ancient people, which just so happen to be black people, and getting them off the planet. In this case, we're talking about basically bringing this planet to another paradigm, spiritual paradigm that I was talking about at the beginning of the actual lecture. He has to go, bottom line. Because believe me, he's already made up his mind. If he can't rule, nobody will. He would rather blow up the whole damn planet than to give it back to the ancients. So you got a choice. The choice is not necessarily trying to carve out some niche to live in peace with him, because he's proven that he cannot live in peace with not only humans on the planet, but no animals. And if any time he lives in peace, it's always a master-slave relationship. And it's becoming increasingly hard to convince black people that this man is their fucking enemy. As time go on, black people decide more and more that ain't nothing wrong with these white people.
Yep.
They don't understand that the damn crime was committed against them years ago. So he don't have to appear to be your enemy anymore. He's already committed the damn crime. The system is already in place.
Correct.
So if a system is in place, hell, he don't have to doggone be the staunch enemy he's done. He's been there, done that. You're a slave now. It's after the fact to determine whether this man is your doggone enemy or not. You see what I'm saying? So therefore he can appear more humane because he's dwelling in a system that he's put together to make him look humane and still predicate and perpetrate a civilized barbaristic state that we all live in. The empire has changed, but from the outside. It just shines a little more. And we have all become consumer machines. That's why the movie, the movie 12 Monkeys told you, you ain't shit not unless you consume. Not unless you got some money to buy something, you ain't nothing not unless you buy it. And that's his policy. But the Kabbalah says that he's got the original people in confusion, and they have an incontinuance towards learning because the intruder, the white man, causes luxury. We all want to get paid to ultimately live, to buy shit from downtown. And remember, we never get on top of buying shit. He always gonna have some new stuff for us to buy every damn year. And that is a part of the damn slavery. So like I said, before desegregation, we had everything. We just didn't have the money. But remember this saying, small house, empty house, full mind. Full house, empty mind. More is not necessarily better, it's just more shit. So when you gotta move, you gotta throw away more shit. Cluttered up. You see, and this is the new form of slavery, is mind control. And programming you to think that your humanity is based on what you consume. Meanwhile, by him being the provider of what you consume, he is the God. And in the movie They Live, they showed you that they got a dollar bill and it says, this is your God. Subconscious, consume. Buy. You see what I'm saying? So we are in a system of barbarism that's far removed from the real spiritual aspect of what we used to be. And we're thinking we're more advanced. The African being in retreat from Africa. The Caribbean being in retreat from its spiritual thing. And black people over here, the number one consumers on the damn planet, more so than the white man. Without a pot to piss in. What's that?
You know, there was a wedding that took place yesterday, right? And it's an African wedding. And what happened was they were so Europeanized that it's incredible.
Right.
And they wasn't playing African music. They wasn't dancing to African tune. And when it's time to put African culture and the drums, they tell the drummer to stop. And everything was Europeanized.
Yep.
And I'm talking about the Africans from Nigeria.
That's right.
Why?
Well, Bobby, I don't want to.
It's a part of mind control because, like I said, he thinks that technology is synonymous to the white man. As well, even with us. We've had our own institutions, we had everything, but in our segregation time, we could not, in our segregation time, although we had everything, we didn't feel like we was totally human until we totally joined him. And that's a form of mind control too. That in so many words, he is reality.
That is true. That is true.
What you
happened
say?
to us. I was getting ready to say that I sure wouldn't want to close this tape on this bad sour note.
Yeah.
I want you to end with
The
prophecy
aspect of
with some prophetic future of our victorious rise. Is that in the prophecy?
Well, I told you earlier that the Hermetic text talks about that one day that Maya will be established. And number one, it will be established in a country in the West. We all know that in actuality, that something has to go down. You see, I'm a firm believer. If it wasn't supposed to go down in our lifetime, we wouldn't have gotten this information now. So like a lot of the Afrocentric people say, you know, we fight for liberation, although it might not go down in our lifetime. No, if it wasn't going to go down in your lifetime, you wouldn't be privy to this information now. It's just today we're not dealing with the spiritual realm. Mm-hmm. All prophecies have been fulfilled, even in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Let's just take a recap. You had your Dogon Sigi ceremony done on April 23rd of 1994. You had your white buffalo of Native Americans born in September of 1994. Mm-hmm. You had your shoemaker Levy 9, these comets crashing into Jupiter in 1994. You had another white buffalo born, I think, in 98. And that prophecy was 1,000,001, and it had another one. You had your red heifer, which is the ancient black Hebrew prophecy of a red heifer being born. It was born in February of 1997. In 1998, you had a two-headed cow being born. In the 1980s, you had one comet. In the 1970s, you had one comet. Hertak and Haley in the 80s. In the 1990s, we've already had three. We had the one before Hale-Bopp that came in January. We had Hale-Bopp, and they just found another one in May called Comet Lee that's supposed to come and be seen or hit the planet, as they say, in November. We've had 4 eclipses. That's unheard of. Mm-hmm. You see, we've had El Nino and La Nina. You see? We've had the Jewish Jubilee thing that they've tracked, the ancient Hebrew thing of the Jubilee year, which was 1999 or 1998. Mm-hmm. You see? You had a dark cycle of Kali Yuga, which is the Indian prophecy of India, in 1990, or starting on the whole cycle of the 90s. Mm-hmm. We've had every prophecy, if we count, has been fulfilled. You had your Grand Cross, which was recently with the last eclipse on the 11th of August. Mm-hmm. You had a perfect 6-pointed star formed on July 23rd, on February 23rd of 1997. Mm-hmm. That the white boy said ushered in the age of Aquarius, based on their calculations. Mm-hmm. We've had all these prophecies being fulfilled, as well as black people here coming into a certain consciousness that they had to scramble and try to wipe out. You see, we've had so many things being fulfilled on schedule that in so many words, that what we're dealing with here is we're dealing with not a matter of years, but maybe a matter of days, maybe a matter of hours. That this thing can come like a twinkling of an eye. They say you might not know the day, but you know the season. Mm-hmm. Well, we can't calculate the date because dates are artificial. Mm-hmm. But we can say if a building is burning down, you can't calculate the exact minute that the fire is gonna, and second that the fire is gonna go out. But you can say that basically the building is on fire. Well, the building's been on fire. In Emil Bach's book, The Apocalypse of St. John, that came out, that comes from England, Flourish Press. Mm-hmm. In his particular book, he said, when the apocalypse started, we would have been in it 10 years before anybody even knew about it, because the people would grow so used to bad news. Mm-hmm. 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 You see. Now the Dogon said after this Sigi ceremony that they did in 1994, and might I add, at the same time they did that, the black people in America had the Freaknik down in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Help Hazard is thrown on the same day. But the day that they did the Sigi ceremony, they said after that it's all over.
They sure did.
Well, some people say, well, The world is still here. What do you mean it's all over? They say, well, up until that point, after that time, what we have is called a null period, which means it's a leftover residue of the physical world that you thinking is here, that's really petering out. And just look, anytime the white boy got to kill John Jr. and Queen Diana for a sacrificial ritual, you know it's over.
Now wait a minute. JFK, the sacrificial.
Yeah, all that stuff was sacrificial.
Boy, every time I think that we fixing to stop and eat, you say something.
All that was sacrificial. As a matter of fact, Diana, that was sacrificial. Elijah Muhammad said, you'll know the end when the infighting comes from amongst the elite. Well, the infighting is amongst the elite. Anytime they got a president that they so-called think that they got to give you his sexual pass, that's all government. First of all, they showed a thing on President Roosevelt. They said, you know, the majority of President Roosevelt's career, he couldn't walk at all. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They used to prop him up and with wooden stilts, and he would wave from the back of the train. But most people thought that he could walk, he just was in the wheelchair. They didn't know that the man could not walk at all. But the thought of having a paralyzed president, they couldn't do that. So as a result, they made you think that this man could walk. So my point is, if this man, if they can take the president 30, 40, 45 years ago, 50 years ago, and put the deception on there that you think he walked, you don't think that they could hide the whole sexual escapade thing that went on with Clinton? Or is that a part of something that they wanted the masses of the people to believe? Because the first form of mind control is to distract the conscious mind, to leave the subconscious mind wide open. And what better way to get the people into a frenzy and go crazy is to give them something sexual. You see what I'm saying? So all of this stuff that happens now is not by accident. All that is a form of mind control. You see? So just about everything that goes on that news is manufactured. You see, manufactured. Even the color mine high thing when they shot up all them people was to attack the gun laws. Because remember, it happened in Georgia. It happened with the Jewish guy recently. It happened with the guy shot up the people in Atlanta. All that stuff, Texas, all of that stuff is to attack the gun laws, to disarm America. Because something is going down. And the only reason why we don't have a South Africa is niggas got guns. You see how nasty the police got with us having guns. Can you imagine how the police could roll around here if nobody had no guns to defend themselves? This would be Nazi Germany. Or worse. You see? So all of this stuff is telling you that you can watch the white man's system on how depressed or how anxious he's getting, or frustrated he's getting by it, that he has to resort to put on all kind of major events to keep your mind off of what you're supposed to be getting on, because he's desperate. Remember, Elijah Muhammad said that this white boy will keep on building buildings and keep on preparing for the future, just to keep you thinking that he's will last forever when he's shaking in his boots. That's to make a catechism of impossibility. And for the masses, they think his reign is forever. For what I know, his reign is very short. Because I know a little key. You know the gods that we worship? You know that we can make them motherfuckers get off their ass? There's a clause in the ancient Egyptian system that says that the Heru, which is the Christ energy, which is in all of us, when he's a child and don't know no better, those gods are his guardians. But as he becomes an adult, they become his servant. See, the thing is not to pray to them gods. I've already found this shit out. Pray is, the thing is to curse their monkey ass out. Now, why is that? You say, damn, that's disrespect. Is it not written in the law that ye are gods? The only thing that separates you from any entity is you are in a physical body and they are out of a physical body.
Mm-hmm.
The key here is because you are in the physical body, you done suffered the most, gives you the right to be the king. Didn't they say that the kingdom will be on earth? And the kingdom will be established by those ones on earth? Mm-hmm. Then you are the one that's got to call for the destruction, not wait on some bastard out here. Fuck them. They're just a raw piece of energy that can only come to being based on you giving the call. The Christians said it a lot of times. The Bible said it too. God has all the power in the world, but he has no power. Faith is like a trap door. If you don't have none, the door is closed. Well, that's faith. What we're talking about is speaking into existence. We have to make the call.
Correct. That's exactly what we were talking about last night.
We have to make the call. But when you make the call, you must understand some other things too. And this is the difference. The entities that's going to respond is nothing but the same energies that's inside of you.
Absolutely.
Those energies are trapped inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they don't want to make no calls to further civilization so they can stay trapped. They want to be freed. You have what is called a glorified spirit. And that spirit wants to be freed. That's the Holy Ghost they talk about. Mm-hmm. And now it's only going to lend the energy in freeing itself. So if you're talking about ending the known universe and the civilization as you know it, they for it. But if you're talking about upholding this bullshit so you can have a better damn car, it ain't going to work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what the energy is all geared up for now. That energy at one time knew that we had a life cycle, that we had to be down here for thousands of years. So it helped to coincide with the earth plane so that you can live an easier life cycle. Now that energy wants out because the prophecy is that all the energy is supposed to be free to go to the next dimension or the next reality. So now it ain't going to lend no hand for you to get no new automobile or to make sure we get another nigga in some office to fuck over us some more. It wants retribution because we must understand we're living in the time of the apocalypse. A Harmageddon. It's named after Horus. Armageddon is the English word, it's the Greek. Harmageddon, named after Horus, Heru. You see. So we just got to understand the life, the time cycles that we in. And remember, there's an old saying that Tom Wolfe said, and you know this in your life, they say you can never go home. Which means when you go home, it ain't going to be like it was when you was originally there. Also, it means in the Grail mythology, they talk about the hero of the Heru, which is you going on a journey to find your true self. And when you cross a bridge, the bridge immediately disappears behind you, which means you can't go back to that which you came from. You got to go on to get the prize. Like so the problem is with the slave is we was hit in the head, or even the African, which is from colonization. He's thinking that he either want to get with the white man, or he's thinking at best when he does his own thing that he needs to return back to that in which he used to be. But it's not about that. You can never go home. You got to go on to the end of the rainbow and get the pot of gold, which is the new Jerusalem, or the new you. And anything leading to against that, your spirit is going to whip your ass. Because you entered on this course, and sooner or later, you got to fulfill it. Or your spirit will whip your behind if you just talk about ulterior motives. For whom much is given, much is required. So one thing about knowledge is when your eyes are open, you immediately become the suffering Messiah. That's what the word suffering Messiah means. It means a people whose eyes are open in a world that is contradictory to them and against them. And not only that, they have to go through suffering knowing that their people don't want to know this shit.
Mm.
And that's the real heartache. That's what the suffering Messiah comes when your eyes are open and you know a certain knowledge and information, and you love, and because you love your people and you want to just tell everybody about this great news, and they don't want nothing to do with it, they will rather spit in your face than to hear the truth. That's when you start suffering. So the Gospel of Thomas that was dug up in 1945 says that when you seek for wisdom, may you find the wisdom. And when you find the wisdom, you will be troubled. But when you are troubled by what you see, rejoice, because the kingdom of God is within, is at hand. So this knowledge did not come about in this time, this dispensation of time, for us not to redeem everything which is supposed to be redeemed. It's here now because it's time for it now, and it's time to get up out of this shit. So on the other hand, we're going through this suffering now because it's time. Let me give you the scenario on what I'm talking about. The white boy, all he had to do to keep all of us dead was to just pay all the niggas off. All black people wanted was a good place to live, a car to drive, and some money in the bank. He could have paid all the black people off 10 times over, and he would have had us suppressed for years. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't be able to tell a person that the white man wasn't shit. Life would have been too good. So for the mere fact he gave us his ass to kiss within the last 10 years, meaning that that's all a part of the divine plan. Because he showed you he didn't love you after all, after the 60s of trying to fool you to think he did. We went through the 70s. By 1979, you couldn't tell a black person this white man wasn't shit. But since we woke up in by the mid-80s, he come to find out in late 80s that he was still the same devil he always was, and he didn't love you anyway. It let us look for alternative solutions, and we found ourselves.
Some of them.
Well, it don't mean the masses. The masses have never done anything but died. You see, this is African science. Always remember, when you see the masses does not represent what's going down. The masses ain't nothing but cattle. This is African science. You will see a circle with a dot in the middle. The circle represents the masses. This is not the energy. The energy is the nucleus. It is only the nucleus that has the power to generate the masses. So it doesn't matter whether they don't get it. They're not supposed to get it. It is the nucleus that is supposed to get it, because this is what's going to generate the masses. Let me give you an example. In the 1960s, we was trained that we needed mass movements. So we did all this mass movement shit. And by the 1970s, when the crackers started issuing out the money, we went to running. And all the black leaders and revolutionaries was walking around with their head cut off and going crazy. That's because they was thinking that our lives were going to be based on the masses. And the masses ain't shit. The masses ain't never did anything but died. In the movie Men in Black, the guy, Will Smith said, won't you tell the people about the aliens? He said, people can handle it, they are smart. He said, no, people are dumb. Individuals are smart. All the masses of the people want is some Kellogg's cornflakes, some food, and some place to sleep.
Well, don't forget
And
some
they
sex.
will, and some sex, and they will beg to be slaves if you take that shit away from them. Take away his house and his car, and he'll beg to be a damn slave. That's what the masses does. The ancient Hebrews call them the Goyim. It's basically the wilderness, you see. So it's never been the masses of the people. So don't ever get discouraged because the masses of the people are idiots. See, the mass of the people is too big. We don't know masses of people. You know individuals. You'll wear yourself thin trying to worry about the masses. That's African science. Now, the people who control us is a group of white people that sit in a room. Where did they get that shit from? They got that from the Moors, and that came from African science. Remember in the ancient Egyptian, the priests used to run everything, run the society. In the African society, they used to have, like John Henry Clark said, you never got to the real king or the real leader. They would have several decoys. So the masses never govern themselves at all. The masses are too inferior to govern themselves. You see. Now the white boy got that from us. It's just that we used to use it in divine order, and now he uses it as a form of control. Uses it as a form of control. That's the difference. You see. We use it as divine kingship. So don't worry about the masses. If the masses were supposed to get it, they would have got it. They would have gotten it. We got it. You see what I'm saying? That's why they always say, even in the Bible, they talk about the elect. You see? The elect. So in actuality, this thing is actually happening. Now, how is it going to happen? Is it going to happen how is it going to happen? Is it going to happen also from a group of people making up their mind? In Isaiah, there's a conversation going on between Mary, which is, Mayat and Isis, and one other person. And he's talking about how these people are going to rise up. How these people are going to rise up. And they say, well, the guy is explaining, he said, them people, those people. Now, apparently this has got to be the end times. And they must be talking about us. They say, those people? You talking about those people rising up? Say, I don't see how them people can do anything. And she said, don't worry about that. She said, the spirit in them is going to override their bodies and going to rise up anyway. It's like the zombie effect. So you have a spirit inside of you that's going to rise up and take over every damn thing. The ancient Kundalini text, the text that dealt with some things says, which is coming out of India, Sanskrit says, that there are devices in our bodies that will come online when the race is threatened by extinction. So what the white boy has to do, he has to sneak around and make us think that everything is all right. He has to kill us off by being wise and conspiring against us. But if he outright just came out and had a mass open war, these devices will come out and will kill his ass. You see. So this is the type of stuff that we're dealing with at this particular time. There are ways to do it. It's just that we don't like the ways of the spirit realm. We want to do it the way the white man system say do it. We want to get some guns, and we want to storm him, we want to beat him, we want to take over, or we want to get our own businesses, and we want to get all this type of stuff. And we want the way we want to do it. When we know that the caliber of black people out here don't suggest that we can do shit. I mean, it's romanticizing it when we talk about black people in the black race, but most niggas don't even want to be black and don't even consider themselves a part of a doggone unity. But then again, on the other hand, that's the saving grace, because we're talking about the ones that still have souls, those original ones. The God covenant that they talk about will all come together. So the only way I can explain this thing is to give you a spiritual aspect of what is going on, and that's the alchemical process of the melanin lining up. And that's what's actually happening. That's why you have for the mere fact that you got black people conscious in a time like this, means that it's already happening. But the key is it doesn't have to have hundreds of people. It only has to be a few. So it's about like this. Let me explain. It's about like taking a match and throwing it in a room full of gasoline. The whole room will go up in smoke. Go up in flames. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's how it is. We're talking about only a few of us have to ignite for the entire sport, for the entire race to manifest with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole process.
Well, my brother,
You got any other questions?
you have been marvelous and wonderful, and I think you deserve dinner with a double helping. It's been excellent. Been really excellent. I want to thank you for such an in-depth analysis, not only of the history of the Ku Klux Klan, but of the issues, the events, and the circumstances by which we will emerge from our present oppression.
Yeah, let me give you one other part too that you must understand, that you were saying, well, when? Do you know that for the mere fact that we're making this video now, and the process that went on with Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Francis Cress Wells, and Asa Hilliard, and all those people, do you understand that that process is a form of the emerging? What we're going through right now is a form of the whole act of this thing going. Let me explain. In the Kabbalah, which is the ancient black Hebrew and coming all the way from the ancient black Egyptian aspect, they have a word called tikkun, which is supposed to be this messianic act, something that happens in a process. We also call it maya. And they explain that it's not an event, but it's more of a journey of an unfoldment. So what we're doing now, speaking as we speak right now this moment, is a part of how the process of redemption and us getting our stuff together is done. We're doing it as we speak. So it's not something far off on how black people need to get together and do things. We have been doing it in the process the whole time. This process that we're doing right now is a process of that energy coming back online that you call that Christ energy. It's just that what used to be was reduced to one man. Well, number one, it was a part of man's soul, but what was also thinking it was one primal point in actuality is a process that has to take place. And I'm saying that that process is going on as we speak. This making of this tape is a brick at the end of the road now. In the latter part of the process has been taking place the last 10 years or so. And remember now, we are on the latter half of it because all the prophecies have already been fulfilled. So this, what we're doing tonight, is a part of that. They say the hero's journey. Hero is Heru. The hero's journey is after he gets to the end of the journey, he finds out that the prize was the journey itself.
That's true.
So what we're talking about now, what we're doing now is the process of the Christ process coming into being. It's just that we've been thinking that Christ is some mystical character that is supposed to come save us. First of all, the person to come save us I wouldn't want him to save me for the simple fact that he didn't take part in the damn misery. That's why Elijah Muhammad said to worship a God other than yourself is to worship a God inferior to yourself. Because ultimately, the Christ is a title that we must go through. And we're doing that particular title. We're going through that unfoldment right now. So any other questions that we need to get through before we cut off?
Yeah, I have one question. I want to know what's the best solution when push comes to shove. What do we supposed to do? I said black men and black women. What do we supposed to do?
You know, ultimately, I think that's a part of his divine, I'm talking about the powers that rule us. I think that's a part of his brainwashing techniques as far as the way he does things. See, the key is to make you think that something is always coming. So therefore, what you'll do is you'll keep looking in the future for it to come, and the future is always now. You see, if I can give you a point to look towards somewhere in the future, I can eliminate the amount of time between you and that time in the future. And you got to realize the process is always the present. He knows that the only civilization and the only thing that he has, he's already got right now. He knows that he can't go beyond this particular physical realm of existence. And his process, one of his mind controls, is to fool us in believing he's gonna come to get us. That's what the whole Y2K bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So he ain't gonna make no moves. He's already made the moves, and he's constantly making the moves to ensure that his system stays in place. You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't suspect him to outright come out and announce war against us when he does so well to do it every day without us knowing, because we don't pay attention to shit around us. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hell, he got every Negro where he want to have him right now. First of all, we love him to death. We work for him. We give him our money. We do everything to uphold his civilization, and we'll fight when something comes to oppose this civilization. So I think that his whole machine on how he's able to survive, because he's only a small portion of the planet, is the deception. And I think that's always in place and it's always going on. And one of his deception is to make you think that he's going to rise up against you. See, I think that a lot of the stuff that was put out about these people rising up and wanting to fight against us, it was the actual powers that be to create a certain hysteria, to get us off of our game, because our game basically is to pay attention to our own souls. Now, as the question goes, let's just say hypothetically that he did rise up. Then it would just be each man for himself, like we figure, just on how you fight on the physical anyway. But he pretty much not going to do that when he kills millions of people a day, just by deception. And he wants things to be as they are. You see what I'm saying? But meanwhile, he's trying to ward off this spiritual shit, and he pretty much can't do nothing about that. And that's what we need to be focusing on. Our inner self. Now, I'm not saying that all the other people out here, what they're focusing on is not valid. But we got a lot of people focusing on, let me give you another example. Let me give you another example.
Yes.
If we supposed to be one with nature and harmonious, do you know that you have a bulldog? They have these dog fights.
Mm-hmm.
They have a bulldog, the most strongest dog. Whenever you put a woman in the cage and the woman starts to fight him, he will lose the fight and almost die. The woman dog will almost kill him. You want to know why? Because that bulldog has common sense to know that he will not fight a woman dog under no circumstances. And most animals, most species, I'm talking about not the ones that's a different animal against a different animal. If two lions fought and that woman happens to fight that male would either run or get his ass whipped. By no means would he fight, because he understands, based on nature, you don't fight your species half, mainly the woman. For the mere fact that you are stronger than her physically, you wouldn't fight her. You see what I'm saying? So are you suggesting because this man lifting weights and stuff, he should have beat her ass?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, as a scholar and a very clear-minded person, which I call you Mr. Update. That's my personal name for you, Mr. Update. I was trying to see your point of view towards such
a situation?
Well, based on the situation, they ain't had no business out there fighting, period. But I don't think that it would have anything to do with the male and female thing. I think that has to do with based on your views towards what you would feel to women. And so, it's like that, but ultimately that's interesting to know that, and the reason why I say that because they had this bulldog fight. And every now and then the guy wanted to win so bad, he put a girl up in there, and the girl beat the other dog's ass. And they had a big discrepancy on why you put this woman up in there. Because you don't supposed to put women up in there. And basically this girl dog, and it was, female dog beat this other dog's behind. And they was all mad saying why did you snuck a woman up in there and we didn't know it, a female up in there and we didn't know it, and they was all mad. But basically the people up in there knew that male dog by no circumstances would fight that female. Although the female was mauling him to death.
If the supreme energy creator
Yeah.
is a woman, could it also be possible that the subordinate deity that you talk about, the lower deity who rebelled or
Yeah.
jealous, could
Yeah.
that also be a woman?
No, I'm just going by what the scriptures say. And basically, for the mere fact that we call on that entity as a he, it means that it was a masculine form of energy. As a matter of fact, they said even to create something outside of the uncreated, it had to have been a masculine form of energy. That's why they always go, even in the Zeus thing, they talk about him shooting this arrow down, this particular arrow down. Basically, what they call creation itself is masculine. Feminine is always negative, pull in. Masculine is always push out, or basically manifest. So what they call the manifest is a masculine aspect of something. And that's what it is. But not because if the feminine energy is all there was, then another aspect of the feminine energy will be a form of the same feminine energy. So that has something to do with it. So, but mainly I just go by the scriptures to be on the safe side, and I haven't seen any of the ancient ones that said it was accredited to another female. You got any more questions?
Last one. Last one.
Yeah.
For me. Now, I'm still asking, what do you think of these women being too macho, especially towards the modern man, especially black male, towards the black male?
Well, to create some balance, I don't think it's such a bad idea. On the other hand, I get where you're coming from. I think that on one hand, what we got going on also too is we have a certain hatred for the male also developing. We do have that type of thing, where the males are looked on only as a financial institution. I think that is just as much out of balance as it is as the woman being looked on as a piece of meat. And we cannot say that in actuality that does not exist, because I will say that even in the conscious community, when I travel up and down the United States, a lot of brothers that are conscious, they're having a lot of problems with their mates.
Yeah.
And so this is prevalent. And I think also too that it has a lot to do with the society that we in, because do you know that in the 1970s, inadvertently, the black woman didn't know it, but they had her on the list as government agents. Although she didn't know she was on the list, they had her on the list because they could create certain situations that they could depend on her to be on their side. You see what I'm saying? By giving her the job, by giving her a certain amount of things like that, and they could turn her automatically against her male by thinking that something is wrong with him. And I think that a lot of this stuff, what you're talking about on that aspect, is this same age-old trick by the master, the white master. And one way you do that in slavery is you turn the male against the female against the male in that aspect of thinking this man is this shiftless old Negro. Now that is a form of government control also by giving her the jobs and doing certain things and making her think in actuality she got that way based on her hard work and effort, when it was a government conspiracy to only give her that to create dissension amongst the males. You see what I'm saying? So on one hand, we cannot let that slide also too. This particular newfound part is also based on that too. So I will say on that aspect, that is a part of it too. But then again, on the other hand, we got to look at this particular part too. She's also been a victim of oppression. And we must always look at it that the same bug that bit her bit us too, and we're both oppressed people. And so we can fight over who's being oppressed the most, and we lose out when we got to understand that we are not really a product of our own civilization anymore. So ultimately, we can't fight against each other, you understand, where we got to come to common ground and pull the wool from over our eyes and see what is it in this damn system that's really causing this dissension amongst each other. Yeah. So I guess that's going to do it. Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to let Bob eat a little bit.